Thursday, yep.
You got me till the 23rd, and then I'm biking.
All right. Hey, everybody. This is IMMPact Litigation's update for July 12th, 2021. We're going to excuse Jeff tonight. He is on vacation, a much deserved vacation. I'm sure he's not.
Wait, where is he, Darren?
Aaron, where'd he go?
I think Nantucket.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
they love Nantucket.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good.
But isn't one of their sons in college out there? I think one of their sons is in college.
Out that way.
Yeah, Jeff is the parent. Jeff and they're of two sets of twins, a set of boy twins and a set of girl twins, neither of which are identical. And so the two boys are the oldest, and they're in two different colleges on the East Coast. So, and one of them plays lacrosse at the college level. I'm going to get to those two, but I know one certainly does. In any event, it's great to see everybody. It's great to have Lily join us. Aaron working from home today. It's like a beautiful. What is it? 130 degrees in Denver. What is?
It's warm. It's warm.
Man, it is far warmer in the West than it is in the glorious South this week, but it is slightly humid right now. I'm sure Memphis is feeling the humidity as well, but this weekend was
raining here.
All right, let's take a look at this. I want to first talk about Go. This is really important because this time next week, we will be doing an update, possibly from an airport somewhere or from here. We don't know yet. We've asked the judge, along with government counsel, for an in-person hearing. We don't have an answer yet, but it will be oral argument.
Trying to figure out if we're buying plane tickets or not.
Yeah, we might be buying those plane tickets on Friday afternoon, which is easier for me than it is for you, Greg. I mean, I've got flights every hour I can go up on Sunday.
Okay. I'm just so happy to travel.
Yeah, it is pretty nice. So, oral argument. Now, a lot of people have asked, well, what about the other cases? Well, the judge has not consolidated any case with Go. He has put them on the same day for a hearing. And, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, folks, but my understanding is they're just being argued the same day. We're not being allotted the same 30 minutes to argue the case. At least as of yet, I haven't heard that.
Right.
So that's what now that may change later in the week, but I'm just going to assume we're going to go first. Our case has been.
Judge has some kind of plan. He hasn't revealed it yet to us.
No, so maybe he does. Maybe that will change. But we're ready to go. We have some great information to share with the judge. I want to share this screen again because this is an email we got from one of our clients in Johannesburg. Now, Joe Berg is not special in the context of DV 2021 processing. In fact, I think they're pretty typical of a lot of consulates, especially in Africa, on DV 2021. So let me go ahead and share this particular screen. This is going to look a little weird. And what I really want to look at, and I don't know if you can see this good or not, it is what it is, but we've got here, this is beautiful, by the way. Thank you so much for doing this. This is an enormous amount of work. All of this data comes from the CEAC. One of the things I loved about doing a lot of this litigation, folks, is how wonderful our clients have been in sharing their skills on data management and statistics.
Yeah, we have really good data people.
What's great here, in my opinion, is this little chart over here to the side. So you'll see there's four columns. First is over on the right is 2018, 2019.
These are the immigrant visa totals for the last 4 fiscal years.
So what you see at the bottom in 2018, the gray, all the grays are the DV cases. The blues are spouses and children of U.S. citizens. The orange are parents of U.S. citizens. And the yellow is basically everybody else. They might be K1s. They might be brothers and sisters. But you can tell the yellow is usually the biggest because that's, there's a lot of visas in that category. But look at DV 2021. There's no gray. They've approved one case over in the stats side over here, one case in DV for fiscal year 2021. And yet they've been processing essentially the same numbers of immediate relatives. So if you remember, the judge made it in Gomez, he used the numbers of CRs, IRs, green card for spouses and citizens to compare to DVs. Well, if that's the metric he wants to use, then he has to reserve all the visas, because I'm going to tell you, this is likely very consistent. Not that I want everybody to run out around the world and look at every consulate's numbers. You are welcome to do that and send that to us this week.
Somebody wants to do that for every country. More power to you.
I'll send you the Excel spreadsheet if you want to use that as a format and put your own data. But this is fantastic because it shows the ridiculousness of the government's position here, that they couldn't process DVs when they processed everybody else. So I just wanted to show you guys that, because the numbers are on our side, the stats are on our side, and I believe the law is solidly on our side. And frankly, I think the government realizes this. It's the reason I think the government counsel said, what are all the case numbers for all your clients, so we can begin pulling them at the NVC. I mean, we're going to get I really still believe we're going to get our clients their DVs before the end of the fiscal year. Now, keep in mind, words of advice. If you have not sent your documents to the KCC and you're waiting for a mystical, unicorn-like email that tells you to send specific documents, get off your duff, which is a kind way in English of saying your rump, and send your documents in. Okay?
What is this, the 19th century?
Well, I grew up in a German immigrant household. What can you need to send your documents in. Don't wait for the KCC, because that's just going to delay your ability to get the visas.
Yeah,
we know that the KCC illegally stopped working. We know that because they basically said that in their statements. I've been thinking about getting if I can use a PowerPoint on a screen, or maybe blowing up, those big cardboard exhibit things I used. I don't know if you guys ever use these. I used to use them all the time in immigration court. I blow up a map of the country and use the map. I love using these things. I want to just blow it up and stick it in the courtroom and say, "See, Judge, look at this. This is facts." I think that works great. But if we get to go in person, I think that there is a very, very unique opportunity to do that. We'll see. We'll let you guys know. So next question everybody always asks, Greg, when will the judge make a decision?
When he's damn ready.
Aaron, do you have an over-under on a decision from Judge Mehta on go?
We've seen from this judge and others that, like Greg said, they'll make the decision when they're ready. But this judge understands the issues. There's no surprises coming about the arguments for the deprioritization of DV, the proclamations. He knows it all. And so because of that, I think it's going to be in the weeks that follow the hearing on the 19th. I think we're going to have a decision.
He has that Google case, though, doesn't he?
Yeah, but I don't think that's active. I don't think he's like in the middle of something that he has to be actively.
That's the thing that we know kind of. I mean, we can say everything we want about our case. We have no idea sort of like what's happening with the judges.
We do know that he's handling literally probably 100 or more of the criminal cases out of January 6th.
Oh, yeah.
His name's popping up all over the place in the news reports about the craziness of those cases. So, the reality is these are federal court judges. They're handling hundreds of cases at a time. Your case is special to you, but not necessarily to them. But he gets this. And, I think this is going to be a pretty straightforward decision for him to write. And, of course, once a decision is issued, we will then aggressively work for our clients to get, make sure their documents are in and follow up. My guess is the court will issue a decision, but not a final decision, because, again, we're asking for visa reservation, but ask for either weekly or biweekly reports from government counsel about how many visas they've issued. Probably, I think we should ask weekly because it's only going to be 8 weeks. And so that he can get an idea about how fast they're working. And we hopefully don't also waste 3 or 4 days after he makes his decision before they start processing cases. That's what happened under the Gomez case. So that's our Go DV 2021. I think we've answered about all the questions are there. And I think I put in our little announcement for today, there's no Gomez update. There's no DV 2020 update. We don't know. We don't know when. We don't know what. We don't know why. It's pending. And yes, I'm sure it will come up either before or after the part of the final hearing about, the Gomez case. We'll be able to mention it, but that is what it is, and it's separate and apart from the Go DV 2020 case.
It's very possible they could issue one decision that covers both cases.
I don't think he will. I think they'll be I think they're first of all, the factually Go is very different from Gomez. And because of their intentional ignoring of his court order from last year, as if he was going to change the court order. I think Go could be very much a slam him on the head kind of decision, whereas Gomez could be more, let's call it
slam him on the head in both.
Yeah, well, I think they should do. Aaron, anything to add on this? Aaron did a lion's share of this work. His work is awesome, absolutely terrific. I think we're in great shape.
Nothing to add. I'm excited the hearing date's coming, and I know a lot of you are anxious, and we are too. We can't wait.
And for those of you in DV 2022, if you think that entity is going to be any different next year, start getting your documents in now to the KCC. Remember what they said in the affidavit, that they stopped working on DV 2021 to deal with DV 2020 last August and September. So just keep that in mind. Now they're going to have to work on DV 2020 and DV 2021. Technically, I guess, before they issue DV 2022. So get your stuff in. And we also learned in one of the affidavits submitted in one of the other cases that the head of the KCC, who got promoted because he's doing such a great job from the acting head of the KCC, said, hey, we got 5 people looking at these emails. 5 whole people? Now, one of our clients did tell us today that they've gotten emails from 6 different people. That's how much they've emailed. So somebody's working on this case besides 5 people. Anyway, there you go. I thought that was. Thank you, everybody, for keeping us apprised of what's going on. I want to talk about Milligan today. What's going on with Milligan, Aaron? If Aaron can hear me.
Sorry, I was just on mute there.
That's okay.
Well, I think that you all will have a better idea of what's going on as far as the processing of plaintiff visas. We're still sitting on the court's decision for a motion to dismiss in this one, right?
Yeah. And so we're just kind of waiting for the decision of the case. Now, something happened today, didn't it, Lily? Didn't we get an email from some plaintiffs in Milligan?
This was for our London K1s, not for Milligan, actually.
The Kinsley people got notices, didn't it?
I think it was for the participants in King, some of whom were also Kinsley, but I think it was for King plaintiffs only.
Okay. So
happy to talk about that, but I don't know if any of the Milligan folks got those. I haven't gotten
those.
Somebody emailed
that there was maybe 100 people that got notices. It sounded like all K1s. So with Milligan, we're literally just waiting on the court at this point. He hasn't set oral argument. He might not set oral argument. He might just issue a decision in the case. We will see. But it has been fully briefed, and I think it's really super well done. I think we're in good shape there. So
yeah, we're seeing a steady trickling in of decisions and entries that are coming in. It seems like it slowed a little bit in the last last week or two, but we're seeing people every day.
Well, one thing we noticed in the Milligan plaintiffs is that Rio just saw this today, just apparently rescheduled all their August and September appointments for all non-priority cases, all of them. So we don't know what that means.
Just like London announced a couple of weeks ago, August and September kicking off cases. So
we don't know what that means at this point. We don't know what they're going to do with it or how that's going to affect the process. But obviously we have that. We'll talk about that case in a bit. I was just going to look into Milligan here in a second just to see. Just so that you know, when a judge makes a decision on a case where the lawyer's on, we actually get an email. It says, hey, we issued a decision or something happened in the case, and I'm just going to go back in here and look at the civil docket on Milligan, which is, by the way, very large, and looking at the stuff here. So everything's been pending since Everything's been filed by June 17th, so it's now been almost a month that the response to the motion to dismiss has been filed, reply has been filed. The government has noticed an appeal of the order, but that's on hold too. So there's no ongoing appeal of the Milligan initial order, and we're waiting to see what the judge does with the motion to dismiss. And then we'll, of course, once we win that, we'll file the motion for summary judgment or settle the case, which is what the government should probably and most likely will do. So there we go with Milligan. Let's take a look at Enunciator. Aaron, I know it's your favorite case these days. Anything going on?
Well, it's always a favorite. But what's going on is still the same as the last update. We're waiting on a decision from Judge Seaborg, who is sitting on a motion to dismiss by the government. We responded to it's fully briefed. We have seen plaintiffs continue to get visas and interviews, although that's slowed down. I'm hopeful that there's one plaintiff that's going to be issued a visa either this week or next, based on some communications actually with Moscow, a family-based plaintiff. So my theory, which is unsupported, is that maybe Judge Seaborg would like to sit on it for a while and see if the case will just moot itself out, which is what we've been encouraging the government to do for quite some time now.
Now of course, the government lawyer, what did she want us to do, Aaron?
She did. That was a request that we got to actually voluntarily dismiss the case after the motion to dismiss was already fully briefed. We declined that offer, and we'll wait for the judge to make a decision.
Yeah.
Usually that kind of request is accompanied by something like approving all of your cases that are in there before you actually make that kind of request. I mean, it's in the category of chutzpah.
That kind of came across as a little bit of hubris, I thought, but Aaron politely declined to dismiss the case. Because a couple of people reached out, including Aline Enunciator, who has been in the United States, about that case. All right, we've got the Cairo family-based K1 case. We don't have any update on that at this point. That's just still pending. And I know that the IRs/CRs have all been scheduled for appointment in August or September, I think. But the K1s are still out there. I think this is just my guess. I think state is looking at these K1s as something that they've got to figure out how to deal with. And when we get to the Ramirez case, we're going to talk about that a little bit. But I think there's been some communication from headquarters out to the field on these cases, which is why I think we saw some movement in London. But also, we'd like to hear if any of our Sao Paulo or our Rio cases have gotten a termination or a letter saying, hey, we're rescheduling the interview. We'd like to know that that's happened to you guys, which just gets us to the Rio case. If you've heard or you got an email, hey, we're rescheduling the interview, please let us know immediately. But so far, nobody's communicated that to us, even though we heard in a bigger scale that they are rescheduling all of the August and September interviews. I don't know about you guys. I follow COVID.
August or September, non-immigrants or all?
They said all non-essential immigrant and non-immigrant visas.
Okay. Whatever
that means. I don't know,
Well, if they reschedule K1s, it tells you what they think K1s
are not essential. And contrary to what the government spokeswoman said several months ago.
Yeah.
But please, if you get anything, please let us know so we can communicate with government counsel in that. Now, K1 Manila, this is the Ramirez case. Now, thank you to the number of plaintiffs who emailed me, and I'm sure everybody else here got an email, of the Twitter video of the Consul General.
So bad.
Oh, well, first of all, it's
great evidence for us.
Thank you. Thank you, Consul General, for that video. It's very helpful. Unfortunately, it came a day after we filed our response to the motion to dismiss.
And I don't think that's a coincidence.
No, perhaps we need to supplement that. Maybe we want to talk to Zach. Maybe we want to supplement our response with additional acquired evidence, a video from the Consul General saying they, in fact, did stop processing K1s. And in the near future, they will resume, but not anywhere near where they were doing them before COVID.
And please be patient. Don't contact us.
Yeah, don't.
Right. One question is like, what were you doing for the last 18 months?
I mean, it's unbelievable. I use that word too, but it's unbelievable.
So let's give a little bit of context here. So in this case, the government filed evidence, including declarations, where they tried to say, actually, we are doing our best to process these, and then they said they'd processed like 60 K1s a month or two ago or something like that. And then they have the consul coming out and saying, actually, it was all stopped and we're now just getting ready to start processing them. It's all inconsistent. It's insane. And I can't believe that. I mean, it's like nobody's talking to each other in the Department of State or in the consulate. Nobody's implementing the priorities as the Department of State has published them. I just cannot. My jaw hit the floor when I saw that video.
Yeah, there's a truth somewhere, and it's not in that video. Or if it's in that video, someone else is lying.
I think we probably need to file a supplemental response because that video directly contradicts a sworn statement from the Department of State. And in fact, both from the attorney advisor in the Department of State and from the director of the office. You notice they didn't have an affidavit from the consul general who's handling these cases. And I think in one of the cases they said, we don't know what the consulates do. We just advise them. They can do whatever they want. So I think I'll call Zach tomorrow. Maybe we can get a supplemental response and we'll talk to government counsel and say, yeah, you guys have a problem on this case. You might want to maybe start interviewing people now. But we'll reach out in that case. I'm trying to remember who the government counsel is in this case. I'm just going to scroll. Oh, shockingly, it's poor Joe Carriffy. So when I talk to Joe tomorrow about our oral argument, I'm going to mention. I want to look at this video in front of it. All right, so that's K1 Manila. And as far as we know, did one of our plaintiffs got contacted or got a positive email that they're going to be interviewed soon or something, but generally no movement. K1 Moscow, let's take a look at the Ponomarenko case. Ponomarenko was filed on 5/17. So government answer is due in a couple of days on this case. That'll be this week. They have not answered. They have not, and they have entered they have not entered their appearance in the case either.
They'll answer at 11:59 at the deadline day, like they always do. Yeah.
So we did get return of service from 5/21. So they have till 5. Well, this is weird. They say answer due for all DC defendants 6/11. I know that's not right. They must be looking at the normal 30 days. So my guess is July 21st. So that'll be 9 days. Their answer is due. And I think let me make a note. I'm going to call Mr. Hudak and see who government counsel is in that case for Ponomarenko. We did get information that the U.S. consulate in Moscow is essentially closed. They're done. They're toast. They're cooked. Aaron, you couldn't handle the heat anymore, could you?
It got too hot. I was sweating.
So what is the temperature in Denver today?
Oh, it's probably mid 90s.
Everybody thinks of Denver and all the snow and stuff. They don't realize it's right at the base of the Rockies, not in the top of the Rockies. So I'll reach out to government and see, but we've got a little bit of time before that. But the U.S. consulate in Moscow is essentially closed now. There was a brand new decision that came out, and this, by the way, Ponomarenko's with Judge Mehta, just FYI. A different judge who's in one of our other cases ruled in a case related to administrative processing that 27 months was not too long a time.
That's not a good decision.
No, and that judge cited 4 other recent decisions in the D.C. Circuit. I need to go back and look at all of them. This judge, by the way, he's a Trump appointee. He's in one of our cases as well, maybe even 2 of our cases. But keep in mind, that was an administrative processing delay and not an original scheduling. And I think there's a massive difference between those two. And Greg doesn't necessarily agree with me, but that's my story, and I'm sticking to it, Greg.
I agree that it's, administrative processing, they get some more leeway on that, but the judge himself seemed to be kind of hung up on this whole thing of jumping ahead in the line, as if that the line is acceptable.
How can you jump ahead in the line if you've already been interviewed?
No, I don't think it's a good decision.
I mean,
don't get me wrong on there. I just think that it sort of like tells you the judge not particularly.
And I don't know the lawyers.
Particularly sympathetic to these people who have been waiting cruelly too long.
Yeah, I don't know the lawyers in the case. I don't know what the arguments were. I don't know if there were.
At face value, that would have seemed like a good set of facts.
I would have filed this every day of the week and twice on Sundays. That you're waiting over 2 years for a decision. I mean, I have innumerable decisions saying that's unconscionable.
Yeah.
But it was a special Moscow case, which is why I thought it was important to bring that up. But again, doesn't go to the issue of them not even scheduling. There are none. It's not that they're not prioritizing. It's that no one is getting interviewed, and that's a different story. Right. All right, Lily, it's your turn.
We have some good news, Lily. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so a number of you emailed me what for me was early this morning, which for y'all in London must have been mid-afternoon, letting me know that the consulate had reached out to you to say that they had requested your file from the NVC and or that you had heard from the NVC that they were sending your file to London. So I don't know how many folks this has happened for. If you haven't yet filled in our update form that I include in every email, please go ahead and do that, because that allows us to keep good data. And also, if you all do it promptly, then I can see some patterns in, are they doing it for all of our plaintiffs? Or are they only doing it for folks whose cases have been at the NVC for some time? The emails that y'all have forwarded me or screenshotted for me don't say why, don't mention this case, but it includes several Kinsley plaintiffs who had been sitting at the NVC for some time. So my hope is that, the government is taking a look at the list of plaintiffs in this case and trying to move you forward, and or that their cancellation of a lot of non-immigrant visa interviews for August and September may have opened up spots. This actually, I argued in the complaint, if you read it, I said, well, they canceled all these non-immigrant visa interviews in August and September. Surely they have extra staff on hand to handle high priority cases like K1. So maybe that's what they're doing. I couldn't tell you. What do you think?
Well, we have some history with London in Milligan where they did something similar to this. Mm-hmm. And it turned out well on there. I mean, we saw after they did that, and what I remember, in some of our round two folks, they were like getting called and say, we got an extra slot today. Can you show up now and do your interview? And there were some of that that was going on where they were filling up empty slots with our plaintiffs. It's encouraging for sure that we're hearing this, and then we'll see what happens. But I wouldn't be surprised if we see some rapid movement for some of these folks if they can get them in quickly, and hopefully during August and September during some of these canceled appointments.
It's not a coincidence that a bunch of plaintiffs all of a sudden got an email from the consulate
on the same day.
There are no coincidences at the Department of State, so that's a good sign. Great work on that, Lily. And the great folks that know Lily, she is going to be on top of this case the whole way until you get over here. And thank you again, all of our K1 folks, for the delightful pictures that you are sending us of your weddings. And
that's the best thing about this litigation.
Email them to us, tag us on Twitter. Every time I see one, they make my day. Your airport pictures, your wedding pictures. It never gets old. I love it.
It's awesome. And what gorgeous brides, what grooms. It's just terrific. Absolutely terrific. Let's take a look at EB5 Fong. Now, this is a weird case because the judge in California transferred it to D.C. to Judge Mehta, who ended up getting this case in D.C. And it is, I'm sure Judge Mehta is going to get really tired of talking to me about these cases. But we have a fully briefed preliminary injunction, literally waiting a decision. it's just weird. Judge Maida seems to have a proclivity for having oral argument. I still think we've got a really good case here. But the problem now for Fong cases is that there's no EB-5. Yeah. So what will probably be the best solution for us is just holding the case in abeyance for 60 days, 90 days. And that gives Congress a chance to reauthorize the EB-5 program. So so don't be looking for any decision in Fong anytime soon. I'm sure even the judge knows the EB-5 program is suspended at this point.
I've gone back and forth thinking that, that whether that's good or not, that they just put it on hold rather than making decisions on it. Because I guess with we have some similarities with other cases where where a deadline came and went and the government failed to do anything in a timely manner, which is what we saw in Ocker and what we're seeing in the employment-based adjustments case. So, we could argue that it doesn't matter that the judge still has the authority to grant them visas even after the program expired. However, it may just be easier to, for the judge.
We have not briefed that issue, and honestly, it is virgin territory. It is untouched territory. There is a bad decision on EB-5s just came out of the DC Circuit, but on a different issue. That was our good friend Ira Kurzban. I think he's legally right, but the DC District Court did not agree with him, and the Circuit Court didn't agree with him on the ability to count only investors in the 10,000. I don't see how you can read that any other way, but they do. So, you're stuck with about 3,000 or 4,000 investors a year instead of 10,000. All right, let's take a look at Kinsley. So Kinsley, we have responded to the motion to dismiss. The government reply is due
Friday.
Is it Friday or Thursday? The 14th, right?
Oh, I thought it was the 16th.
Maybe it is due Friday. Maybe we were just very generous in giving them the time. Great response. I think this is a easy win for us with the court. I would suspect that we'll probably get a relatively quick decision in this case from Judge Boasberg. I thought he gave a relatively quick decision before. Just a question of whether is our case over because the bans are lifted, or is it not over? The reality is the bans still exist. The bans have not gone away. They just carved out an exemption here, an exemption there. And I think we've got a great argument about the illegality of the NIE.
Well, the NIEs only affect a subgroup of the plaintiffs in that case.
But it's some of them. And so that's kind of where we are. All right. So we've got next is the H-1B lottery abuse case. I have the draft preliminary injunction in my inbox. And again, the goal is to get that filed by Friday at the latest, if not by the 15th. So we're moving forward on that case. And again, remember, what do you get as a plaintiff in a lottery abuse case? We're asking for if there's a secondary lottery, and it appears more and more to me every day that there's going to be a secondary lottery.
I think it's virtual certainty.
Yeah, it has to be. They didn't notify enough people, and they're still denying plenty of cases.
Well, they would have to approve like 98% of cases and count, and every single person that got selected would have had to file. There's no way.
There's no way. So there's no way. And because we know the lottery skewed the results. So that in the secondary lottery, that applications beyond the initial application not be considered for individual applicants. And more importantly, that the lottery itself is struck down for next year because it's illegal. And that would mean returning to the lottery of filing an application for every applicant until they can redo the regulation. And we don't really have an opposition to the $10 application. You just need government. You cannot allow 50 employers to file for the same person. We're getting emails now for people soliciting our clients to file multiple applications.
I I'm not so sure I agree that the $10 alone is not a problem on there.
Well, it probably is a
seems
problem.
like it's an invitation for fraud.
Yeah, well, charge $1,000 and deduct it from the filing fee if you get picked.
Yeah.
Or don't. I mean, just
Or
use
have
it as a money raiser.
Put a deposit or a bond.
Yeah, a bond would be good. So that's where we are in the lottery abuse case. Moving forward on that. Greg, give us an update on the USCIS AOS EB delay litigation.
So we are drafting a complaint, and we have been getting some very good stuff from out in the legal world from people that are sending us some good legal memos.
Great stuff.
Yeah, on there. So we are, we're still aiming middle of the month, and but I've told people if the case gets delayed a couple of days so that we can have a stronger argument, then we're going to take a couple more days. But it's coming along, and I feel pretty happy with the way it's going.
All right. And by the way, these outside organizations that we've received, not directly from them, but through third sources that know what we're doing here. I mean, this is great stuff. One of them is from I'm going to get this wrong, the Niskanen Center, which I believe is that right? I don't ever say that right.
I think it's Niskanen, but I could be wrong.
Niskanen. It's like, how do you say Okaho? Is it Okaho or Keho? Okaho? I mean, I don't know how to say that. Okaho. I mean, I don't know how you say it. It's very interesting. But I think that's a libertarian think tank kind of place.
I've spoken at one of their meetings before.
Oh, well, and it's great. And we'll, of course, ask for an amicus from them, but it's exactly what we're arguing, that, look, you can't not use these visas. I was thinking about it again today, Greg, as I was talking in our firm meeting about the sheer number of lost EBs. Yeah. I mean, it would reduce the backlog for India instantly overnight.
I think that there is a cadre of folks at USCIS that are rooting for us on this one. And one of the reasons why we want to take our time a little bit in drafting this is to give them a good legal pathway, some good legal arguments on why they can settle with us and give us what we want.
So it'll be fun. I'm looking forward to it. This is going to be, I think it might be the funnest of the lawsuits that we're doing because it's so unique. Never been done before, but I don't see how it can be justified to just throw away people's lives. Because that's what this is. This is not about getting rid of the cap or separating out people into different countries. This is, look, all of these visas, folks, are going to go to Indians. Every single one of these are going to go to Indians.
Yeah.
And you would think people would be up in arms about USCIS.
You are rest of world, and you've been out there griping about some of this legislation, some of these.
You should be demanding they use it.
This is good for you, along with the Indian community, to get a big chunk. Because if these numbers don't get used, they're not being used. They're not rolling back to anybody else to use. They are just evaporating, and there's no benefit to anybody else that's in line if we are unsuccessful here.
And that's why it's so important to litigate this. We can't let that type of injustice, which is litigatable, go forward. So I'm excited about that lawsuit. It's great. We have 80 comments. We're not going to get to all 80 comments. I'm sorry.
Take a couple of highlights.
You got a couple highlights. Let's see. Would a summary judgment in K1 Manila, which is Ramirez, impact Ramirez, Milligan are due round 3? They're different judges in Ramirez and Milligan, if I'm not mistaken. And so one summary judgment wouldn't necessarily impact another, but I can tell you that federal court judges talk to each other.
Yeah, it will get Judge Boasberg's attention.
Yeah, I agree. Somebody asked if we know how many documentarily qualified. We have no idea. We have no way of knowing that number because, frankly, we don't even know what that means at this point. At the case, does anybody know what that means at the KCC? Has one of the 5 people opened your email? I don't know. I don't know what that means. I mean, I'm thinking about the Gomez rush last year. I mean, how many of those folks were documentarily qualified on September 4th that got visas by the end of the month? I think they were just throwing cases out there in that. Okay. Let's see. I'm just going to skip some. Fun day for King plaintiffs. This is Lily. This is kind of a fun thing. I'm super excited about that. The next step in the K1 Egypt lawsuit is the motion to dismiss, which will then be followed by the motion for summary judgment. Okay. And I'm pretty sure the government has not filed the motion to dismiss in that case. I could be wrong. I think that's one of Jeff's cases, Aaron. You don't happen to have that one memorized, do you?
No, I don't have it up in front of me either, unfortunately.
Let me just take a quick look and see if I can see it here. No, I can't find it I was just looking at my other screen over here to the Pacer, see if I could find it real quick, and I can't. So I do apologize. Happy Bastille Day. Long live Vive la France!
That's not today.
It's not today? Oh,
Today's the 12th,
what do I know? When's Bastille Day?
14th.
Oh, well, okay. Patrick, sorry. You got me in trouble. Vive la France! Whenever I always think about Casablanca, the movie. I'm going to burst into the French national anthem. I'll give you an answer to this. Several different lawsuits affect the case. Yeah, of course. I mean, he's not going to rule inconsistently in cases, but the facts vary by each case. Okay?
We probably all win or we all lose.
Okay, so here's the deal. And we've talked about this a number of times. If you're a plaintiff in the Goad case, we are not your individual lawyer for individual cases. But you're going to be reporting back to us on a weekly, daily basis so that we can follow up with the government on a weekly basis. Hey, these are the people who haven't been interviewed yet. But you're the one that's going to have to get your interview set, not us. We can't possibly manage 1,000 cases in 50 consulates around the world. It's just not physically possible. We weren't retained for that. Let's see. This is my favorite. Who will notify the KCC about the judgments? Judge Mehta will. Trust me, they'll know immediately. Not worry about that. What we'll do, once we have a judgment, we will give you specific instructions on emailing the KCC and the consulates. Okay? All right. So Jeff, Jeff's good info, Jeff. You're saying that the NBC told you that Rio is not accepting K1 packages, which is consistent with what we just heard is that they've descheduled all the August and September interviews. Again, that lawsuit's moving forward, and we'll see what the judge has to say about that. If there's any way you can document that, if you get that in an email, that would be great. Voicemail, I'm not asking you to record the NBC, okay? But if you got an email that says that, that would be actually pretty helpful.
Chuck, let me jump back to K1 Cairo. I just looking that up. So that was motion to dismiss was filed, and our response was filed on I think June 28th.
All right.
So that's before the judge.
That means their reply is probably due. Should have been due already. Their reply. Did they get a reply in?
Yeah, but I don't. Let's see. I didn't see that one pop up in what I was just looking at. But if it's not already in, it should be due any time now.
Yeah, I would imagine. I mean, I don't recall giving them any extra time to get it in. So I'd imagine that was typically due within 7 to 10 days after the response is due. So, all right, let's see. Are we able to mention we are in the King versus Blinken case in a letter to the state secretary and to our local congressman? You are a plaintiff in the King case. You are welcome to mention it. It might not have any impact, but you are welcome to mention your plaintiff. Is that fair, Lily?
Sure. Yep. We don't have an order from the judge saying all King plaintiffs must be processed ASAP because we haven't won the mandamus yet, but you're certainly welcome to mention it in any communication with the government, including requests from your constituent services offices.
Yeah, so don't hesitate to do that. Now, Esther sent this email, and I forget which consulate Jeff is talking about, but it doesn't matter which consulate Jeff is talking about.
They're all issuing student visas over K1s, yeah.
So why, Lily, why is Rio issuing student visas instead of K1s?
Well, the non-immigrant visa unit, in theory, is separate from the immigrant visa unit. That will be their excuse, is that those are not a zero-sum game. But I saw the little gesture you made, suggesting that perhaps
It's all about, when somebody told me this one time, and I believe this. When something happens that you don't understand, that seems weird, follow the money. The money in this is not bribes to the consulate, okay? It's the universities. The universities and colleges in the U.S. are pressuring the State Department to issue student visas so that they can get the full rate tuition that foreign students pay to attend U.S. colleges and universities, and which keep many of them afloat.
Especially after, during COVID, when a lot of folks were withdrawing, taking time off, not paying their tuition. International students are important for university finances, but.
And if you think that Biden will change where the money is coming from, you're sadly mistaken. Politics, the answer is to money, first of all, regardless of the party. That probably sounds cynical. No.
Well, every university has an advocacy department and a lobbyist in DC, so they are very well organized. But I mean, there's a good case to be made for every category. So I don't want to disparage students.
No, I mean,
the fact of the matter is they sort of have pitted every group against each other, the State Department, because they are unwilling to make changes so that they can fully serve everybody, which they could if there was an interest in doing so.
Keep in mind, they were fully servicing everybody prior to 2017. Let's be clear. Everybody was getting fully serviced. Now, it wasn't always super fast, but everybody got serviced, and everybody had pretty similar wait times. And the Trump administration weaponized immigration. They weaponized the consulates. They used COVID to weaponize immigration. And that's why you're in the situation you are today. And then now they pit immigrants against each other, which is not fair. Don't fall for that crap. But F1s are getting the visas because they have better advocates in DC. No doubt about it.
Michael, check your email. I sent it to you.
Oh, good. Thank you. Thank you, Lily. You're right on top of that. Let's see. Can we expect an early lawsuit for DV 2022? Here's what I'll tell you. Let's see what the Department of State does on October 1. Is October 1 a weekday this year? I don't know if October 1's a weekday this year. Is that a Monday? Let's see.
It's Friday.
It's a Friday. Will people be set for their DV 2022 interviews on October 1? October 4, October 5, 6. If by the end of October, nobody's been set for a DV 2022, yes, we will see it. Absolutely. With joy. Let's see. This is zero routine visas. Yes, watch the video, CB Man. She's telling you they're not doing routine visas. So at least she's true to her word, right? Let's see. Okay, by the way, we are in the DV 2021, folks. We are seeing numbers all over the board. High numbers, low numbers. In that website, which is like, forget what it's called. It's a website that tracks all the numbers and the highest number processed. They're all over the board. I mean, there's no rhyme or reason there. What the Department of State is, KCC is saying, we process cases in case order by document completion. So it's not case order, it's by document completion, no matter what that number is. And some people realize they should send their documents in and not wait for an email. And honestly, we told you this last year, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. Be the squeaky wheel. All right. Let's see. Somebody wants to know about our thoughts about Manila's decorations and hors d'oeuvres. Manila had a huge 4th of July party. I wish there appeared to be like 700 people at the consulate. But heaven forbid they should, and very few of them were wearing masks because they put it on Facebook. Again, it'll be a great exhibit in the Ramirez case. It'll be really good. Let's see. Honestly, if the judge orders issuance of the visas, Montreal will have to do that. Okay? They'll have to do them. If somebody asks, a lot of people got these questions. We are not adding any plaintiffs to our lawsuit. So that you know, there's several other lawsuits, one of which is a class action. Now, that class action is actually in California, and I believe has a hearing this week, if I'm not mistaken. So if that
we need to talk about that because there are some questions in the comments about that too. There's a motion to change venue by the government saying that venue is no longer appropriate in California because the California-based people were dismissed. And so it may be moved to DC. The government's moving to move it to DC. The questions are, how will that affect the other cases? I don't think it'll slow down the other cases because we're already set for July 19th. I don't think anything's going to slow that down, and we'll fight it if it does. The other question is, what would it mean for the class certification? Well, it'll be awkward because the class certification asks for a class of all people who are DV 2021 selectees who are not a part of a district court suit in the District of Columbia. So if it's changed to the District of Columbia, it gets a little weird.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm not ruining that case. That's going to be very strange. I don't know what's going to happen. If the judge reserves visas, is there a time limitation? The judge didn't put a time limitation on the go reservation. So
whatever the judge decides he wants it to be. I mean, that's the power of a judge.
Yeah. So the Department of State is obviously in their best interest to process people as fast as they humanly can, because it's like a snake swallowing a pig. Until they eat the whole pig, they can't eat anything else. They can't process DV 2022s if they're still processing DV 20s and 21s. And so that's, obviously they want to do it quickly. It's like my consulate's closed. This is another thing we're asking for is the Department of State accommodate and they did this in Gomez. They were very good at accommodating third country nationals in different countries. And that's going to have to happen for a number of our clients. Moscow is a primary example of that. Okay. Let's see. I don't know what smoke and mirrors are, but I think he's referring to the entire immigration process. That's part of it. Okay. I'm going to go. You guys, if you see any emails here, I should be answering. Let's see. Getting near the end here. You can ask the judge to revert the procedure requested of the docs for KC just like it was until they be. Yeah, this is a very interesting thing one of our clients brought up to me in a separate email today. The KCC didn't used to process the documents. It was all done at the consulate until 2018. And this is what's weird. I think that may have happened in September of 2020. I think that at least in some cases, the consulates got documents directly from people. I'd love to hear from some of our Gomez folks that got their green cards. But there's no way the KCC processed people that fast for all their cases. But obviously, and here's the thing, one thing we can't ask the judge is to meddle in how they process cases. The judge will say, I know what he's going to say. I've heard him say it already. I'm not here to tell them how to do their job. I'm here to tell them to do their job. All right, that's what we're asking for. Do the job, figure out a way. Now, we recommend in a settlement that perhaps they might want to do this. Maybe they do that. But keep in mind, when they took the document processing away from the consulate, by doing that, they probably saved 2 or 3 staff positions at each consulate who processed paperwork. And they employ fewer number of people in the KCC because presumably they can get it done faster electronically. So they may not be physically able to document process at many of the consulates, many of which are very much understaffed. Okay, even I'll concede that. I love this one, Greg. You of course know when the EU travel ban will be lifted.
Are there betting odds?
If we knew, we would have told you already.
We do think Canada might, all the restrictions on the U.S.-Canada cross-border stuff might be ending this month. The Canadian government kind of hinted at that, saying that the U.S. was going to likely follow suit this month. So, but that's about.
I don't see the EU travel ban ending anytime soon. I don't see them ending anytime soon, because they think that the ban is fixed for immigrants, right? Because you get an NIE, you can do 14 days, so why not? Why get rid of the ban? And remember, Biden's using immigration to stop COVID. So just keep that in mind. And no, why Switzerland is not processing every damn one of the 48 people who won the lottery is beyond me. That's a couple days' work at the embassy in Bern.
And that's been a pretty good consulate, even through the travel bans.
They've done really good stuff for a lot of our clients. Oh my goodness. So a Go plaintiff got her DV 2020 appointment on September 30th.
Whoa.
You better make sure that all your I's are dotted and all your T's are crossed. You didn't tell us what consulate you're on, Mrs. Villager. I'd love to know what consulate that is. You know, you've got to make sure all your paperwork is in and absolutely perfect, because any slight mistake and you're not getting the visa. And you may not be protected by the reservation of visas because you would have been interviewed and denied. So being the last day is not always, you know, if it's the last day, it's the last day, but man, it'd be nice if you were sooner. And why they're setting an appointment 75 days away on the last day of the fiscal year, that seems a little weird to me.
That is very strange.
That seems really weird to me.
Person.
Urvesh said that he heard that. Oh, wait a second. That he heard that the Biden administration might be doing something to address the AOS delay. I tell you, suing them will get them from might to probably. I think.
I do think that there are a number of process changes that are in the works at USCIS that are designed in general to make things work better. But that's I don't think they have a grand plan at this point to issue all those visas.
No, I don't think so either. And I think that there's clearly a part of the government that loves doing things the old way, and that's the best way, and it's the only way. And why should we think outside the box and do it a different way, unless they're forced to? Are they going to cancel DB 2023? No. Don't even ask this question. They're not going to cancel. They can't legally cancel DB 2023. There's
been a lot of things that they couldn't legally do that they've done.
They did.
Anyway, so that's not exactly the best response.
Hector said, I watch every week. How is Madrid? I happen to know how Madrid is processing H-1Bs and restamping, and they've actually been pretty efficient at that. I had a client just go over last week, and they had only waited like 3 weeks for their appointment, and they
had an NIE available.
They got their NIE and came over. It was pretty stress-free. I was shocked, but they did. Mahmoud wants to know, if he has written to the KCC and they have not responded, what should I do? Email them again and call them, and email them and call them and email and call them until they get tired. Until they go, oh, when I answer the phone, Mahmoud, how are you? That's when you know you've called enough times. All right. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Mike. Thank you for our listeners here. We'll be back next Monday night with our immigration litigation update. Jeff will still be on vacation in Nantucket.
We'll be able to talk about it. We are having a hearing next Monday, whether it's virtual or in person. We don't know yet, but we will have a report for the Go people.
Most of the talk will be about that Go case. We'll let everybody know what's going on. Oh, by the way, that's a Sri Lanka interview. Well, good luck with that. Keep in mind that tomorrow, Greg, you've got your Facebook Live tomorrow.
Yes, 1 Central.
1 Central, 2 Eastern. A Wednesday, I'm at 2 o'clock. Aaron, what day? You guys are Wednesday at noon as well. No?
Thursday, noon Mountain Time.
Thursday, noon Mountain Time, which is 2 o'clock Eastern. A good time to do a Facebook Live. Now, Greg, are you inviting Lily onto yours? Because I love when
Lily has a standing invitation to show up every Tuesday if she would like.
I think she should do it.
I gotta share a little love with the rest of the firm. So
anybody in our firm who wants to come on can come on.
And I want to remember, people, in case you forgot, Lily, once again, she won.
Chuck, you can come too if you want.
No, that'll be fun.
You don't have anything going on.
But I want to mention again that Lily received the award from the American Immigration Lawyers Association, our national organization, as this year's mentor And so congratulations,
Big
Lily.
knocker now.
I think it's awesome. I mean, what that means is she's spending all day long answering other people's questions.
And now even more so, because people who didn't know that I like to mentor now want me to mentor them.
Mentoring is fun. Immigration law is a weird area in which we all help each other. Because, you know,
We all have a common enemy.
Exactly. We're all, we have no reason to compete with each other when there's more than enough work to do. And we have, as Greg says, we have a common enemy. So
amen and amen. All right, everybody, have a great week. We will see you next Monday night.
thank you all.